André Thomas's story stands out as a horrific monument to human savagery in the gloomy annals of crime. On March 27, 2004, in Sherman, Texas, the 21-year-old performed unfathomable atrocities. Thomas's spiral into horror culminated in a conviction, raising arguments about justice, mental illness, and the ethics of capital punishment in the middle of a traumatic background and declining mental health. This heartbreaking tragedy compels a confrontation with the hard facts of a life riddled with difficulty and mental suffering, asking pressing concerns about accountability and the structural flaws that allowed such a nightmare odyssey to emerge. However, André Thomas's lawsuit began on March 27, 2004, in Sherman, Texas. André perpetrated a series of heinous crimes at the age of 21, killing his estranged wife, Laura Boren, his infant son, André Jr., and Laura's 13-month-old daughter, Leah. These killing circumstances are both surprising and terrible. André's childhood was fraught with difficulties. André grew up in a household beset by mental health disorders and alcoholism on both sides of his family, raised by a single mother dealing with depression and managing alcohol. Despite these challenges, André showed intelligence and skill at a young age. He took part in the Gifted and Talented program at school, where he showed a significant interest in disassembling and reconstructing cars, as well as sketching future vehicles. However, around the age of 10, André's mental health began to worsen. He began to hear voices in his brain, a propensity he inherited from his mother and grandmother. He tried suicide at this young age, a worrying habit that persisted until he was 13. His mother's emotional reaction to these efforts contributed to his increasing antisocial behavior. André Thomas became engaged in a network of illicit activities, including car theft and vandalism, throughout his adolescence. When his partner, Laura Boren, became pregnant at the age of 16, his life became even more complicated. Despite the challenges of early motherhood, they married and welcomed their son, André Jr., into the world in 1999. However, the relationship was turbulent, resulting in their divorce and initiating a downward spiral of mental health concerns for André. André sought safety in 2003 at the age of 19 by moving in with his brother, Brian. Unfortunately, the siblings' confrontations worsened, aggravating André's pre-existing mental health issues. When a violent brawl broke out and André stabbed his brother Brian in the back, the situation took a terrible turn. Despite the obvious indicators of significant mental health concerns, authorities failed to provide the essential intervention or treatment, allowing André to be released without adequate medicine or assistance. André's obsession for Laura persisted after his relationship with her ended. Laura moved on, making a new bond with Brian Hughes. Despite the fact that he had a new girlfriend called Carmen, André's unpredictable behavior continued, accompanied by unsettling thoughts of self-harm. Concerned friends acted decisively, transporting him to a mental health center. However, in a disappointing turn of events, André rejected an emergency order, forcing him to go to the hospital, oblivious to the looming danger. André's chaotic life exemplifies the combination of untreated mental health disorders, poor relationships, and a criminal history. His issues with self-harm, violent family relationships, and a record of avoiding medical help highlight the inability of the system to handle the intricacies of his mental health. As the strands of his difficult past unraveled, the stage was prepared for the horrible events that occurred on that fateful day in 2004. The confluence of these events prompts contemplation on the social flaws that allowed André's mental health to worsen unchecked, eventually leading to the fatal conclusion that would stain the pages of his frightening story. On March 25, 2004, André stabbed himself in the chest in a shocking act. Staff at the hospital diagnosed him as schizophrenic and issued an emergency order for a mental health examination. However, André departed the hospital before he could be properly assessed and treated. Moreover, on March 27, 2004, André committed the terrible crimes 2 days later. He dressed in overalls with pockets, armed himself with knives, and went to Laura's house. He tortured Laura's body after fatally stabbing her, slicing out a portion of her lung that he mistook for her heart. André then turned his attention to the children, slaughtering and extracting the hearts of André Jr. and Leah in a similarly horrible way. André caused 2 stab wounds on his own chest while lying down near Laura's lifeless body in a weird and surreal act of self-inflicted retribution. He escaped the horrible scene after miraculously surviving this grisly ceremony, absconding with the hearts of the innocent youngsters he had mercilessly slain. André reached out to Laura's parents in a confusing cry for help, leaving a cryptic message that hinted at his tremendous misery and sense of captivity in a horrific environment. When André returned to his trailer, he unburdened himself to his lover, Carmen, revealing the heinous facts of the killings. He declared his desire to surrender to the authorities, drenched in blood and carrying self-inflicted wounds. André kept his promise and turned himself into the cops, confessing to the heinous acts. His reasoning, based on the twisted idea that God had directed him to murder his own family, brought another layer of incomprehensibility to an already terrifying tragedy. André's mental condition became a significant focus of the later judicial processes. In an unexpected change of events, he took matters into his own hands by gouging out one of his own eyes while imprisoned. This behavior sparked disputes about his mental competency and generated serious concerns about his fitness to stand trial. Despite getting occasional mental care, André was eventually found to be competent for court procedures. In 2005, he faced the full force of the legal system, being convicted of murder and sentenced to the death penalty, which would generate debate for years to come. Furthermore, André Thomas's traumatic path prompts a troubling reflection on the intricacies of mental health inside the criminal justice system. His self-mutilation, admissions, and heinous actions highlight the critical need for a sophisticated understanding of mental illness in judicial circumstances. As the legal odyssey progressed and André's competency was constantly questioned, society battled with the delicate balance between accountability and the recognition of serious mental health conditions. The tragedy of André Thomas is a striking reminder of the dark intersections between mental agony and religious delusions, and the tragic repercussions that can result when such issues are not treated effectively. As the wheels of justice revolve, issues about the judicial system's competence in handling situations that blur the lines between criminal intent and serious mental illness persist, leaving an indelible impact on André Thomas's tragedy and the ongoing debate about justice and mental health. In a startling turn of events in December 2008, André Thomas committed suicide by ripping out and swallowing his remaining eye. He is currently being held in a high-security mental clinic, awaiting his execution on April 5, 2023. This case weaves a tapestry of complex ethical quandaries, including mental health, criminal guilt, and the divisive topic of the death sentence. Despite the heinous nature of his actions, others argue that André's long-standing and untreated mental illness qualifies him as a victim in his own right. Instead of the irrevocable act of capital punishment, this viewpoint calls for a life sentence in jail along with extensive therapy. As the execution date approaches, the discussion over André's destiny heats up, with opposing views on whether he deserves society's ultimate vengeance. The disturbing sequence of events in André Thomas's life drives an investigation into the intricacies of mental health inside the criminal justice system. His self-inflicted mutilation, which included the removal and ingestion of his own eye, is a troubling witness to the devastating consequences of untreated mental illness. The fact that he is currently in a secure mental hospital heightens the need to examine how society deals with those whose acts cross the line between criminal intent and serious psychological anguish. The fate of André Thomas in this ongoing tragedy invites society to confront hard questions about justice, compassion, and the delicate balance between punishment and rehabilitation. The incident remains a disturbing reminder of the significant issues inherent in managing the intersection of mental health and the pursuit of justice within the limits of the judicial system as the pendulum swings toward the planned execution. The frightening narrative of André Thomas finds us wrestling with the agonizing complexity of mental health, justice, and the morality of the death penalty as it develops. As we face the upcoming execution, we must ask ourselves, can a society discover a route to justice that addresses both the seriousness of the crimes committed and the indisputable threat of untreated mental illness? Well, that's it for today. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you at the next one.